Rouse's is proud of the creativity and the unparalleled entertainment in New Orleans, and honored to highlight it with their sponsorship of Steppin Out on WYES.
Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
With a lifetime of passion for public television, we're pleased to help underwrite Steppin Out.
Please join us in supporting WYES TV.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Poppy Tooker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hello, Miss Poppy.
Hi.
Alfred Richard, movie critic for WWL TV. Great to see you.
Great
Hello.
seeing you, Peggy. Hello.
And we have Jacob Fowler, who is one of the premier artists of the Crescent City Chamber Music Festival, and Luke Fleming, who is, of course, the founder of the festival. Welcome, welcome. So glad to see you all, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hi. And Annette Mason of theatercriticism.com and the Crescent City Jewish News. Hey, Alan.
Hi.
Hello. Poppy, some innovative ways to help restaurant folks in need, huh?
Well, you know, that lowly little red bean has just done so much for New Orleans. And of course, I'm talking about Devin DeWolf and the crew of Red Bean. And of course, everybody will remember that at the start of the pandemic, he started the Feed the Second Line effort that involved originally feeding hospital workers, and then that branched out to feeding the elders that in the community. And they're still feeding, of course. Here they are down in the Bayou parishes handing out food, but they're doing so much more. As a matter of fact, you can find Feed the Second Line folks tarping roofs, giving, by the numbers I heard, the National Guard a run for their money. And this is, of course, with a focus on culture bearers, giving back to the folks that have made the social aid and pleasure clubs such a vital part of New Orleans. They've done everything from pack up the Backstreet Cultural Museum, but you know, Devin's just incredible. Remember, at Mardi Gras, he put the float artists to work. Jazz Fest was canceled. He came up with a scheme to put musicians to work. Well, this last hurricane really made him understand that it was necessary to get lit and stay lit. And this is a new initiative outfitting neighborhood restaurants with solar panels and batteries. And this is a big initiative that he's doing, and his plan is that the next time folks can evacuate, there'll be a neighborhood restaurant that will be a beacon of hope, complete with charging stations, cooling stations, delicious food, everything we need in New Orleans.
Such a good idea. Thank you so much, Poppy. And moving over to Alfred, Hurricane Ida even affected movie theaters?
That's correct, Peggy. We've had, this year, when it comes to movie theaters, of course, theaters like the Chalmette movies, the now unfortunately gone Chalmette movies, have been dealt a blow with COVID, and then here comes Ida. And Ida's winds and rain put a devastating hold on several different theaters. So today, I'm going to be talking about the theaters that have been damaged and are closed temporarily at this time. And the biggest one is one of my favorites, and that is the Britannia Uptown. The damage there is toward the upper part of the building, and also they're trying to clean the building as we speak. As of the time of this taping, the Britannia Theater Uptown is still closed at this point. Also, another major theater that is closed, you can see there's the information you can find out if you want to call and find out when the Britannia will open up again. Another big one are the Metroplexes. Of course, this is the AMC. The AMC theaters all 3 of them in the area. The AMC Elmwood,
Wow.
the AMC Clearview 12, and the AMC West Bank are all closed due to Hurricane Ida. I passed by the AMC Elmwood Theater recently and saw a number of lift bucket trucks that are being staged there for repairs of the power line grids in Jefferson Parish. You can contact www.amc.com for more information on when they will open. This storm did affect a number of businesses, as we now know, of course, theaters, restaurants, and such. But in my second segment, I bring you some good news, theaters that will open. And one note before we go, I'd like to thank my friends John and Jamie, who helped take care of me in Long Beach, Mississippi, in the recovery after Hurricane Ida.
All right. Thank you so much, Alfred. And over to Luke. Now, you are the founding artistic director of course, the Crescent City Chamber Music Festival. How many years are we going on now?
This will be our 6th year doing the festival.
And these are free concerts. I would assume that one could make a donation. Is that correct?
Oh yes, we actively encourage it. Yes.
Well, let's talk about a few. We've got so many, so let's get started.
Okay. Well, this year we're doing 7 free public concerts. It's the most we've ever done. Back in 2019, we did 6. Last year was because of COVID. It was kind of the height of the pandemic in a way. We did a virtual festival and did 4 concerts. But this year there's 7. And you can kind of break them up into 2 waves of concerts. The first weekend, the concerts are on Thursday, a Saturday, and a Sunday afternoon. Thursday and Friday night, and a Sunday afternoon. That the first 3, and they're all different venues. You know, the first concert is at Historic Felicity Church. It's going to feature Grammy Award-winning guitarist Jason Vio and the world-renowned Escher Quartet. It's a BYOB kind of just opening night. Come and hear some great music and enjoy. And then the second night is going to be a very different type of concert. It's you know, it's also free, but a much more serious program. It involves the Quartet for the End of Time by Messiaen, and the Escher Quartet will be featured, but also some members of the Manhattan Chamber Players. Those are our 2 ensembles in residence, the Escher Quartet and the Manhattan Chamber Players. And then the Sunday concert, Sunday afternoon, will feature the music of a wonderful young composer, Andrea Casarubios, who's also a beautiful cellist, and she'll be performing and will be performing and premiering some of her music on that program, along with music by Dvorak and Bartok and George Walker. It's going to be a really wonderful first weekend to kick it off.
I'll tell you, Luke, you and I think it's fascinating, both you and Jacob, you know, travel all around the country and then sometimes the world, okay,
yes,
performing. So it's not like you're not keeping busy, but this is something I know that you really bring a combination of local musicians, but you're bringing in a lot of folks this time too, aren't you?
Yes, but something different we're doing this time. We'll talk about it later in more detail, but we are utilizing a lot more local musicians this time. Part of that is because this past year I moved back to New Orleans. I'm from here originally, but I've lived the last 15 years in New York City, where I went to do my master's and doctorate at Juilliard. But I've moved back here, gotten to know a lot of the local musicians. I've joined a string quartet that's based locally, the Lot Quartet, which is in residence at UNO. And we have an entire concert that's devoted to local musicians.
Yeah. Now, Jacob, you and your wife made a decision. You were living in Houston to move here, and I know you're a graduate of the Eastman School of Music. That's pretty impressive. So how are you liking it so far here?
Oh, it's great. As things open up, you know, we live just, I guess you'd call it Riverbend area. The whole Oak Street thing is just blowing up again, and it's really kind of refreshing to see. When we first moved here, everything was still very closed and, you know,
Yeah.
a little
So you're getting
sad.
a taste. Now, you're also a founding director, actually, with a music festival in the Outer Banks. What is it, Sun and Surf or something like that?
Oh, it's called Surf and Sounds. It's
Surf and Sound.
It's a bit smaller than the Crescent City Chamber Music Festival. It's just a week-long 4 concerts. And if you're familiar with the Outer Banks, or if you're not familiar with the Outer Banks, it's just a strip of islands that kind of jut out into the Atlantic. And we play concerts all up and down this island. And yeah, it's great.
Okay. Well, we'll be talking more about other concerts coming up this week. But once again, that Crescent City Chamber Music Festival. Go to the website because you'll get all the details. We're kind of going through this quickly, but there's a lot to absorb and free, which is great too. All righty. Thank you, gentlemen. And in just a little while, I know you'll be playing for us. But now over to Alan. Alan, I'm so sorry we lost your mom.
Yeah, the music maven of St. Charles Avenue, Smith's Records. My mom, Annette Mason, helped bring low record prices to New Orleans. Not only did my mother school me in classical and opera, but she also developed in me a lifelong love of Broadway show tunes. It was carried at the record shop, and still many people today still say it was the best shop they ever saw. My mother also, after touring New York one trip, introduced me to Al Hirschfeld, the New York Times caricaturist. She began to collect dozens of lithographs and several original pen and ink drawings, some of which you can see behind her, many of which were on display at Smith's Records. And here's the Hirschfeld she commissioned of her own image back in 2002. Wow. My mother also enjoyed dining out at many of New Orleans' fine dining establishments, and for the last half of her life, she ate at a specific restaurant each day of the week. Here, she and I are celebrating our joint birthdays a month apart at the last room at Antoine's with the late Gary Druin, who was our waiter. My mom leaves behind a love of carnival. Some people called her Miss Mardi Gras. Even Ricky Graham claims to have based a character in his And the Ball and All on Miss Annette. We will all miss her.
We'll really miss her. Absolutely. All right.
Now on to theater news.
Yeah.
Now that the electricity has been restored, the damage at two key venues have been discovered, and it's not really good. First of all, the Jefferson Performing Arts Center suffered roof damage that resulted in some water damage to the lobby and elsewhere. The rugs have already been replaced, but the roof damage has to go to public bid. It will take at least until December the 3rd to be finalized. And that means that the Addams Family cannot take place at JPAC and will have to be rescheduled. They've been looking for an alternative venue. More on that later. Meanwhile, also, Rivertown Theaters for the Performing Arts also suffered some extensive damage. They're moving their entire fall schedule to the Solomon Theater at St. Martin's Episcopal School off Airline Drive. Hello Dolly opens next weekend with general admission seating now, and Ashley Smetherman-Lemler will be starring in it. Arrive early if you want a good seat. More information at the Rivertown Theaters. Just check them out. There's the phone number for you to see, 461-9475. And finally, this weekend, Peggy, Cabaret opens up on the North Shore as part of the Hurricane Ida-affected season. They're going to be running for 3 weekends, and it's going to be a very interesting and I would say a very cutting-edge show.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alan. And moving back over to Poppy with restaurant news.
Oh, just more Hurricane Ida news, I think. Of course, most restaurants have been able to reopen following Hurricane Ida, but I learned this week, much to my surprise, it'll be another 2 weeks before Tujague's opens up again at their new building. There were damages down there, so they'll be back Wednesday, October 7th. The sad news this week is that Cavin, that beautiful restaurant on Magazine Street, will not be reopening. Apparently, that beautiful old home sustained great damages, and so LeBlanc and Smith have decided to close Cavin. I bet we see something else there before too long. But the good news about reopenings is that finally, Emerald's flagship restaurant is reopening next Tuesday, September the 28th. And why is it so hard to reopen restaurants? Well, one of the reasons, frankly, is getting supplies. You know, so very many of our local chefs depend on local farmers. In particular, farmers from the Crescent City Farmers Market. So many farmers. There's my friend Tony Accardo. That's a third-generation business that's right down there on the Mississippi River in St. James Parish. That is his grandfather's barn. It's just heartbreaking. So the Crescent Fund has been created. You can go online or text IDA CCFM to 44321 to contribute or go online. And there's another great way to give money for IDA, and that is Commander's Palace is donating the proceeds from their next, it's going to be great, should have been Jazz Fest, and they're going to split the proceeds between the Crescent Fund, the Louisiana Hospitality Foundation, and Noki. The national event, the tickets are available until next Wednesday, the 29th. You have, I think, until October 10th to be able to sign up locally. Anders Osborne is going to play, and brand new for the first time ever, other than wine and cheese, you can have dinner from Commanders nationally.
Okay.
They will ship shrimp creole and jambalaya for dinner.
All right, thank you so much. And back over to Alfred with some good news.
Yes, we now have some good movie theater news. In the first part, I had to give you something sour. Now I'm going to give you something sweet, and we stay with that food theme. First up, we talked about how the Britannia Uptown was closed, but good news. The Britannia theaters at Canal Place are open and operational. In fact, in the immediate aftermath of the storm, once the power was restored to that area, the Britannia theaters at Canal Place was noting to people, you can come in, watch a movie, cool off, and of course take your mind away from some of the troubles you're dealing with. Again, that's the Britannia Theaters, Canal Place, and a couple of movies there that I recommend that you would catch. One of them was filmed, this director, this young man, Justin Chon. He not only directs, he acts in this film. It's called Blue Bayou. It also stars Alicia Vikander in Blue Bayou. Filmed in the New Orleans and Louisiana area, lots of beautiful footage of the city, especially between the bridges on the West Bank. You can find that at the Britannia Theater, Canal Place, 3333 Canal Street on the 3rd floor. Lots of threes there. You can see the website here. And another film that is coming out this week really caught the eye of myself and a lot of critics around the country. Here's Jessica Chastain. She is in the new film, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. She has the titular role as Tammy Faye Baker. You can see she's not wearing as much makeup as Tammy Faye usually did. And Andrew Garfield, you may remember him from Spider-Man. He takes the role as Jim Baker, the fallen televangelist. It is a potential Oscar nominee film. The Eyes of Tammy Faye goes through the entire time, and those of us in New Orleans remember Tammy Faye and Reverend Gorman and all that shenanigans that went on Airline Drive. But it's The Eyes of Tammy Faye at the Britannia. Good news, everyone. Also, the Broad Theater is open. Now, of course, the Broad has always had trouble when it's flooded in the area, but thankfully the levees held, there was no flooding, and the Broad was able to reopen, and they are open as well, and they're going to be showing Blue Bayou. There's a poster of that film, and The Eyes of Tammy Faye. So if you want to see it, you can catch it at the Broad Theater.
All right, thank you so much. And back over actually to Luke and Jacob. Tell us a little bit more. It's amazing how many free concerts you have. So just tell us briefly about those others that we've got coming up too.
Well, I alluded to it earlier. The fourth free public concert is on Tuesday, October 5th. And that involves all local musicians, the Lot Quartet, which I play in, which is in residence at UNO, and the concert will be at the UNO Performing Arts Center. If you're not familiar with that venue, it's a new venue for us. It's a beautiful place to hear chamber music, great acoustic, and also a local tenor named Tyrone Chambers. Jake will be playing as well, and a pianist named Anna Briscoe. So that's all local musicians. So that's kind of a new feature for this year for us. A fan favorite will be our fifth free public concert at Urban South Brewery on Thursday night, October 7th. And it's very, very informal. They have special beer flights available for purchase, and we kind of pair the beers with classical pieces.
I love that.
Short and sweet, but really fun. And it's a great brewery. The first year we had the festival was the first year the brewery was open. They only had like 3 beers, and now they've got like 29 beers.
And one more you've got coming up too?
The concert on Friday the 6th is also at UNO Performing Arts Center. And even though it's all chamber music involving the Manhattan Chamber Players, which is ensemble pieces, this one, each piece on the program features a kind of virtuoso performer. One case a hornist, another case a violinist, another case a pianist.
All right.
And then the final concert.
We'll talk about that just a little bit later.
Yeah.
But tell us what you're going to play for us. It's very exciting.
Oh, yeah. Well, right now we're going to play a duet by Ludwig van Beethoven. Maybe you've heard of him. He wrote this duet for viola and cello. He was a violist himself. And he had a good friend that played the cello. So this is the duet for viola and cello by Beethoven.
much. And once again, Crescent City Chamber Music Festival.com. And we'll actually hear some more music as we conclude in just a few minutes. Thank you, gentlemen. And now, though, back over to Alan. Alan.
Peggy, from what I've been able to count, I think there's some 14 shows that have opened up now on Broadway in New York. And again, they include Waitress, Chicago, Hadestown, Wicked, and Lion King. And opening soon will be the longest running play in musical and Broadway history. And of course, that is The Phantom of the Opera. And soon to open will be shows like Caroline or Change by Tony Kushner and Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, I bring that up because the editor of TDF Stages, those are the people who run the TKTS booth on Broadway. Raven Snook will be my guest coming up Monday, October the 4th on NOLA Theater Talk. That's a big deal, and I want to make sure that everybody knows about that. We're going to talk about the Tony Awards presentations and give you a little bit of perspective on what shows are open and what's changed and what we have to look forward on the Great Bright Way. Locally now, on the local stages, we have Trixie Minx, who'll be bringing her burlesque ballroom back on Fridays at the Royal Sonesta. You need to call the Sonesta for tickets. There's the number. And also, Lena Prima is back at the Carousel Lounge on Fridays and Saturday nights from 9 until midnight. Do not forget to check that out. Now, for some virtual viewing, those of you who want to check out, there's some free streaming of Stupid Kids featuring Tony Award winner Ali Larder as a benefit for the Actors Fund. And again, for $20, those of you want to catch 3 original Tracy Letts plays, one of which stars Rainn Wilson from The Office. Essential workers and artists can watch for just $10. Check it out, and that'll be streaming on Broadway by demand.
All right, thank you so much. And now it's time for our picks of the week. Poppy.
Saturday, it's Oktoberfest at Urban South Brewery from 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. And Wednesday, the 29th, it's National Coffee Day. And our newest coffee shop, the Funny Library Coffee Shop in the Virgin Hotel, is celebrating with $1 coffee specials.
Okay, thank you. Alfred.
It is not too early to get ready for the New Orleans Film Festival. Last year, it was virtual. This year, it's going to be a combination of virtual and hopefully live attendance. You can get your information at www.neworleansfilmsociety.org. It's a great time for everyone.
Okay, thank you. Luke, one final concert, Todd, to conclude this
the season finale concert on Sunday, October 10th in the historic, beautiful Sanctuary of Rain Memorial United Methodist Church. Closing out the season with Copeland's Appalachian Spring, just one of the most quintessential American pieces, and I think a really lovely way to end this season.
Okay, wonderful. And you're going to be closing us out at the end of the show. What are you going to play for us?
This is a little It's actually from an organ sonata by Felix Mendelssohn, but we did a little arrangement of it for viola and cello.
Okay, we're going to go to Alan, and we'll come right back to you.
So
Okay,
I want everybody to understand that the COVID-affected Tony Awards for 2020 are finally being held this Sunday night. Six-time Tony Award winner Audra McDonald will host the actual award presentations for the nominees on the Paramount Plus streaming service. Now, if you don't have Paramount Plus, there's a free 7-day trial available. And those of us who will be watching on CBS at 8 o'clock New Orleans time, that'll be when Leslie Odom Jr., the Tony Award winner, will be hosting a celebration of Broadway's current shows called Broadway's Back. I'll see you at the theater.
All right, thank you. And real quick, my picks, we've got Rick Bragg, who will discuss his brand new book called Speckled Beauty, and that's next Thursday at 6 p.m. It's a ticketed event, but with the ticket, you get a little party, and you get the book itself. And if it's with two people, it's $30 for one and $36 for two, and you do get a copy of the book, which is a good deal. But go to their website for more information. Also, the Hispanic Heritage Series Music Festival. This Friday, noon to 2:30, a free concert featuring Viva's duo with Javier Gutierrez at the French Quarter Farmers Market. That's at 1100 North Peters. It's free. And now, though, we get to hear more from Jake and Luke. Take us away. And thank you all very much for watching. Good night.
Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
With a lifetime of passion for public television, we're pleased to help underwrite Steppin Out.
Please join us in supporting WYES TV.
Rouse's is proud of the creativity and the unparalleled entertainment in New Orleans, and honored to highlight it with their sponsorship of Steppin Out on WYES.